So those of you in Sealy, this does not include you in the tornado warning, but it does include Belleville. So those of you out there in central Austin County, again, go ahead and seek shelter. No confirmation of a touchdown with this particular system, but it doesn't take long for these things to spin one up really quickly and do a little bit of damage. So this is the only complex of storms we're really monitoring this evening. Obviously a very robust complex of storms that continues to push on off to the east at about 15 to 20 miles per hour. So let's zoom in just a little bit here, give you a better idea as to what areas are going to be impacted, and that does include Cat Spring and Belleville. Pretty rural out here, so mostly just open land that this would be traveling over, but there are a few populated areas, and we want to watch out for you folks out there in our western viewing area. Putting a tracker on this particular system, and right there near Cat Spring, this is moving on off to the east-northeast, again about 15 to 25 miles per hour, and this is going to put it in Belleville right around 9:33 and Cochran at 9:49. So anywhere in this area, go ahead and seek shelter right away. So Monaville, we're going to be watching you as well out there in extreme western portions of Waller County. Sunnyside, I think this is going to move off to your north, but we'll continue to watch your area as well. And for bearings, there is 290. So this is going to be to the south and west of 290. I'm not sure that this storm is going to make it, at least the tornadic part of it, but certainly something we will continue to watch over the next hour or so as it continues to race on off to the east-northeast at about 15 to 25 miles per hour. So let me clear this off here just a second. And again, we're talking about a pretty complex set of storms here, and it's really the only thing in sight. You can see how this came rolling out of central Texas areas just to the east of San Antonio, and now is moving generally just to the north of I-10, the Katy Freeway, pushing into Austin County and south of 290. So those of you watching from, say, Brenham, this is not going to include anybody in Washington County. This is not your storm. So those of you watching up there, you're safe. Take it easy this evening. Same up there in Grimes County. But those of us in central Austin and maybe even western portions of Waller County, this is where we're going to want to watch pretty carefully as this storm continues to hold together here over the next hour or so. Now, we are picking up a few minor downpours out there in western Harris County. This is not going to affect the city of Houston. If anything, it were to move into Waller County and clip maybe northwest Harris County. But again, no confirmation of a touchdown, but we are seeing a little bit of rotation with this particular cell as it pushes on off to the northeast at about 15 to 25 miles per hour. So the good news here is pretty rural. No confirmation of a touchdown. We'll just continue to watch this as it unfolds, pushing on off to the east. Been a pretty active weather day overall. I can tell you, had a very nasty thunderstorm move over my house earlier this afternoon that actually set one of my neighbor's houses on fire, thanks in part to a lightning strike. So these storms have definitely had sort of a little bit of an attitude with them as they have pushed through southeast Texas today, and this one is no different. Now you see a lot of the pink in here. This is indicative of a hail core, so maybe a little bit of hail with this one as well, but the primary threat, at least according to the National Weather Service right now, is the fact that we are dealing with a possible tornado, but again, no confirmation of a touchdown at this time. Let me pull out some of my tools here. We'll look at the scope and see exactly what we're dealing with. So one of the things that I'm looking for as a meteorologist is I'm looking for where red and green come together. And honestly, just looking at this, I'm not seeing a strong tornado signature. That is certainly good news. One of the things that we look for is what we call a TVS, Tornado Vortex Signature. And that is where you're looking at the red and the green coming together right next to each other. And you say, well, Blake, there it is right there. Yeah, it looks that way, but the storm on radar itself is actually up here towards Cat Spring. And one thing that I'm not seeing is I'm not seeing a lot of red and green touch each other. That is what we call gate-to-gate shear, and I'm not seeing that. And if there is any there, it's very, very weak. So certainly good news. If there is anything as far as tornadoes go within this particular cell, it is likely going to be very weak and short-lived. This is not going to be one of those large, long-lived, violent tornado situations here in central Austin County. Nonetheless, all tornadoes are serious, so we want to take this one seriously as well. Cat Spring and Belleville, this is headed your direction. This is where the warning is at this time as the storm continues to move on off to the northeast, again at about 15 to 20 miles per hour. No confirmation of a touchdown, but the tornado, now I'm beginning to wonder if the warning has been dropped. Give me just 1 second here. No. So it is going to be effective, it looks like, for about another 25 minutes. And they're saying that it is radar indicated rotation. That's exactly what I'm seeing. But it's very, very weak. And again, no confirmation of a touchdown. So let's go back to our radar here, and let me put on the watches and warnings. There we go. So there's the pink box right there. Again, this is going to include Peters, Cat Spring, and Belleville. You're going to be on the extreme northwest side of this as this particular cell continues to roll on off to the east-northeast at about 20 miles an hour. Let me put my scope back on and overlay it with the warning itself, and then you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about as far as that rotation. So exactly where the tornado warning, the arrow is pointing, it's pointing to this area right there. And again, I'm not seeing a whole lot of red and green coming together, maybe a little bit, but it's very, very weak at this time, but it is sitting right over Cat Springs. So any of my viewers out there in western Austin County, central Austin County, maybe out there towards Belleville, go ahead and send me a tweet at KHOUBlake11 or follow me on Instagram, Blake's Takes 08, and let me know what you're seeing out here. I'd love to get some ideas as to what you guys are experiencing, whether it's gusty winds, some small hail, or if indeed there was a brief touchdown with this particular tornado. So something we're going to continue to watch. We will monitor this over the next couple of minutes here. Again, this tornado warning in effect until 9:45. So as we put the radar into motion, you'll see how they are kind of bouncing along here, headed right for Sealy. And even though Sealy, you're not in the tornado warning explicitly, there is a lot of pink down here forming, which is indicative to me of a pretty significant hail core. So those of you out there in southern Austin County, near Sealy, or just near the Beard area, this is where we're going to be looking at some pretty rough weather coming up here pretty quickly. So those of you, again, in Sealy or Beard or in southern portions of Austin County, you have a little bit of time. So now would be the time to go ahead and bring that car under a carport or get it in the garage before it gets beat up with some small to medium-sized hail. The tornado threat, if there is one with this particular system, is going to be in the central part of the storm as it moves up towards the Belleville area. Although if I'm a betting man, I would say that it will pass just to the south of Belleville. But now is the time to go ahead and take those tornado precautions, which include go ahead and put as many walls between you and the outside of your home as possible. You want as many barriers between you and the outside of your home. So that's number one. If you live in a two-story, get in the bottom layer of the house. Get on the first floor, perhaps under a stairwell, usually a very safe place to be. Stairwells are usually a pretty sturdy place. The next thing you want to do is you want to find a bike helmet or put something over your head to protect from flying debris. And you're not going to have a very long time to get this done, so now is the time. Follow my directions. Get something over your head to protect it and stay low to the ground away from windows, because the nature of tornadoes in southeast Texas is that they're very quick and usually they're very weak. So you usually don't have a lot of time and rarely do you see them coming. This is not Kansas or Oklahoma where you can see these giant tornadoes coming from miles and miles away. The nature of tornadoes in southeast Texas, thanks in part to our maritime environment, is that they form, they drop, they're done very, very quickly, and rarely do you ever see them coming. So again, those of you in Belleville, Cat Springs, out there towards Peters, now is the time to go ahead, protect your head, get on the lowest floor of your home, put as many walls between you and the outside of your home as possible as this storm system continues to roll on through the area. Those of you out there in western Waller County, this is also could potentially be your storm in the next 30 to 45 minutes. So those of you in Monaville, why don't you go ahead and start taking these precautions as well, just in case this warning is expanded on off to the east. So where exactly in the Houston area are we? Well, there is the metropolitan area of Houston. There's Katy, okay, and there's Hempstead. Hempstead's there, there's Sealy. So we're out here on the western edge of the Houston area, in a more rural area, but certainly we don't want to discount that at all. Okay, there we go. We have a brand new tornado warning. So this one just now being issued as well. This one until 10 o'clock. This is going to be for Sealy. So those of you in Sealy, this now explicitly includes your area right along the Katy Freeway to the west of Katy. Katy, you are not in this tornado warning as of yet, but something that we will continue to watch. So Lisa, I'm not sure if you can hear me, or Dion, can we go ahead and hop on TV just for a moment here with this brand new tornado warning? Okay. For our digital audience, if you give us just 1 second here, we're going to hop over onto the TV side and give a brief update on this tornado warning, and then we'll be right back to digital. So just stand by and we'll get this done for you. Hey, Dion and Lisa, just let me know when you're ready. What's the ETA on that? Tornado warning in Sealy? Yes. So this is going to include southern Austin and western portions of Waller County until 10 o'clock. I'm ready. Good evening, everybody. Meteorologist Blake Matthews here. A third tornado warning now coming into the weather office here. This one including southern Austin County and now western portions of Waller County until 10 o'clock. This does explicitly include the town of Sealy. And while there is no confirmation of a tornado on the ground at this time, we certainly are dealing with a cell that is certainly capable of producing a brief tornado spin up again in our western zone. So where exactly are we? Well, there's Katy right there. So Katy, you are not included in this tornado warning at this time. Monaville up here in western Waller County, you are not included either, but Belleville, you are included in this tornado warning, and Sealy as well. So those of you out there along the Katy Freeway, once you cross over the Brazos River, you get it way out here to the west of town, Sealy, you guys are going to be included in this tornado warning and western portions of Waller County. Again, at this time, no confirmation of a touchdown, but something we will continue to watch. We have two tornado warnings. The first one going to include the town of Cat Springs, Peters, and Belleville for central Austin County until 9:45. The brand new tornado warning that has just been issued for the same cell a little bit further to the south is going to be for the one near Sealy. And it looks like they have just dropped the one for 9:45 out there in Belleville. So those of you out there in central Austin County, you guys are no longer included in this particular tornado warning. However, the brand new one that has just been issued, again, for Sealy and extreme western portions of Waller County. Now, let me pause this just a moment and roll this out, and we'll show you exactly where that rotation is being seen on the radar at this time. And again, that's going to be just right there. And you can see we're dealing with what we call a classic gate-to-gate shear situation, where you see green, which is wind moving towards the radar, and you have red, which is wind moving away from the radar, and they're very, very tight together. And when you see this, this is what we call a couplet, a gate-to-gate shear couplet. And when you see the red and green come together, indicative of strong rotation in this particular storm. Again, no confirmation of a touchdown at this time, but it could certainly occur at any moment. So what do you want to do? Well, the first thing is get on the lowest floor of your home and do it right away. The second thing you're going to want to do is put as many walls between you and the outside of your home as possible. You want as many barriers between you and the outside as possible. The third thing you're going to want to do is protect your head. If you have some sort of bike helmet, go ahead and snatch that thing, get it on right away. Time is of the essence here for those of you out there in the Sealy area. Again, no confirmation of a touchdown, but certainly one could occur. So what is the nature of tornadoes across southeast Texas? Well, it's usually not the ones you see in Kansas or Oklahoma or Alabama. We have a very maritime environment, which means tornadoes don't last long here. They're very quick hitting. You oftentimes do not see them coming. They drop from the sky, they do what they're going to do, and they're gone just as quick. So you don't have much time here in Sealy. Again, it's not explicitly on the ground at this time, but it could be at any moment as it continues to race on off to the east at about 20 miles per hour. So those of you just joining us, again, a brand new tornado warning has just been issued until 10 o'clock. That does include southern portions of Austin County and western portions of Waller County until 10 o'clock. We are going to jump on the digital side, which includes our Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube pages. Go ahead and jump over there and follow us, and we will continue to track this storm as it works its way through Austin and western portions of Waller County. No, we need to hop back on the web if we can, please. Thanks. I'm sorry? What'd you say? Are we still live? Okay, we're still live? Okay, great. All right, you guys, so we're going to continue to track this storm here. I was just reading the very latest from the National Weather Service. Again, explicitly, no tornado on the ground as of this moment, but it is certainly indicated by Doppler radar as we continue to watch a very robust rotation with this storm as it continues to push into southern portions of Austin County and western portions of Waller County. Again, a very nasty thunderstorm. The rotation has not weakened much at all. In fact, as we were talking about on the TV side, and that is what we're looking at here is what we call gate-to-gate shear, and this is a very good example of what we're talking about. Notice how the red and the green are coming together in a very tight knot. This is what we call a couplet, gate-to-gate shear, where wind is moving towards the radar in the green zone, wind is moving away from the radar in the red zone. Well, look at the proximity of wind going in opposite directions, right? So you get this idea that something is spinning right there, and that is the reason why the Weather Service went ahead and issued this tornado warning. So this is going to include the town of Sealy out there along the Katy Freeway, and perhaps Peters as well. Sunnyside, you are also included in this tornado warning. You're going to want to watch that. And those of you out there in Brookshire, you are just outside the warning itself. So something we're going to have to continue to watch as this continues to unfold and push off to the east at about 25 miles per hour. So let me zoom back out here just a little bit, and you can see this storm, if anything, has picked up in intensity over the last couple of minutes. So it started off in Colorado County out there towards Columbus, became tornadic once it left Columbus, and now is pushing into Austin County at this time. I know those of you that were watching from Belleville, I said earlier that you may be included or were included in this tornado warning, but that has since been dropped. So that's good. We got rid of one. Now we just have one left. So we've had 3 tornado warnings just in the last couple of minutes. And the only one that is still in effect is going to be the one that they just issued here for the Sealy area until 10 o'clock. So those of you, again, this is going to be to the west of the Waller County line, although in southwest portions of Waller County you are included in this tornado warning, again, as it pushes off to the east at about 25 miles per hour. Let's take a look here at the towns that are going to be impacted by this. Let me put on the warning. And this is going to include Sealy right about now, let's see, 9:32, so at 9:46, Brazos Country, 9:56, Brookshire at 10:07. Of course, we'll continue to update these times. In fact, let me update them right now. Let me clear this off. Just stick with me here just one second. All right, so these are brand new updated times here that I just did. So there you go. So showing Sealy at 9:51. I find that hard to believe, being that it is just getting ready to push into Sealy as we speak. So it is currently 9:33, and this is saying 9:51. So the storm is probably outrunning these times a little bit. So just a heads up on that. Sealy, go ahead and seek shelter now. Now is the time to heed the warning on this. Again, the nature of tornadoes in southeast Texas is that they're quick hitting. You oftentimes don't see them coming, and they're never on the ground for very long. So now is the time to seek shelter. Don't forget to cover your head. Put as many walls between you and the outside of your house as possible. Stay away from windows and stay low to the ground as this pushes through. Brazos Country, 10:06, probably going to be pretty close to the next 15 minutes or so. Brookshire, it's showing 10:20. I'm not buying that time at all. Again, if you're in any of these towns, now is the time to seek shelter, because Brookshire, you're not explicitly in the tornado warning right now, but you could be as the storm continues to roll on off to the east at about 25 miles per hour. So we'll clear that out, and let's put on our couplet and see exactly how we're doing with our rotation. Again, Sealy, Brazos Country, Pattison, you're right on the edge of this as well. There we go. So you can see, now this is very interesting. I want you to pay attention to something. Notice how it was moved to the northeast, and look at that right-hand hook. Look at that. You see how it turns to the right? That is a classic tornado signature. Normally, this is what we call a right-hand mover. And as it is moving to the east, it becomes tornadic, moves to the right. Very, very classic situation here as far as tornadic weather goes. And that's why Sealy, this is right on top of you as we speak. If you have plans to travel west of Brookshire at this hour, stay home for right now. It's dark out there. It's often rural. Not a good place to be at this time, especially with strong thunderstorms headed that direction. So Brazos Country, now is the time to seek shelter. Same in Pattison. Sunnyside, we're watching out for you as well. Brookshire, I'm growing more concerned with you folks right now. You're not in the tornado warning as of yet, but go ahead and start seeking shelter and find that place to be just in case that this tornadic storm makes it in your direction. Let me zoom out just a little bit here. And as I said earlier, these storms really have been packing a punch all day long. I live up near the Woodlands, and we had a heck of a thunderstorm come over my house. One of the stronger ones I've seen in the last couple of years, and it actually set my neighbor's house on fire. One of the lightning bolts hit the house and set it on fire. So that was actually had to take my dad's vehicle to work today because the fire truck's blocking my street. I couldn't get out of my house. So these storms have certainly been packing a punch this afternoon. There we go. As they continue to roll on in here. So there's a closer look. Look at the amount of lightning strikes with this, by the way. Lightning, often a good indicator of how strong a storm is, and the more lightning strikes you get, the stronger that storm is, and it's becoming a little bit more concentrated there just to the west of Sealy. Let's see exactly how many lightning strikes we're talking about here. So we're looking at 175 strikes, 84 negative, 91 positive, and it's the positive strikes, those are the dangerous ones. The reason why is they're the ones that pack the punch. They come out of the anvil of the cloud, way up top. Remember, thunderstorm heads, thunderstorms in general, they're charged, right? And what charges the thunderstorm is the ice in the cloud, right? So you have the water droplets that are going into the top of the cloud. They're freezing, where temperatures are way below zero. They come back down, they pick up more water, they freeze, and hail is forming. So as the ice in the cloud is clinging next to each other, they're banging into each other left, right, and sideways, they're knocking charges off. Well, the positive charges go to the top of the cloud, and the negative charges go to the bottom, and it's when the charges build up, they ignite, right? And that's what we see as lightning. Well, the positive strikes come out of the top of the cloud where the positive charge is, and those are the dangerous ones. Those are the ones that'll kill you. Those are the ones that set your house on fire. And we're seeing 90 of those as we speak. So looks like the lightning count may have come down just a little bit, but still a very potent storm, and this tornado warning in effect until 10 o'clock. So those of you out in Sealy, now is the time to seek shelter as this is headed your direction. And we're going to continue to watch out for areas near Pattison and Fulshire and Brookshire and areas to the west of Katy as well. I'm not sure exactly if this storm is going to make it to Katy in its current form. It may weaken by the time it gets there, but nonetheless, it is holding its own as we speak. Speaking of holding its own, let's take a look at that velocity scope once again. This is going to be very important. And it looks to be a little bit more broad than it was a little while ago. It's opening up just a little bit, but still seeing a lot of red and green very close to each other, and that strong gate-to-gate couplet, that gate-to-gate shear that we're seeing sitting right over Sealy. So those of you out there in southern Austin County, western portions of Waller County, hop on Twitter at KHOUBlake11 and or my Instagram at BlakesTakes08. Let me know what you're seeing. Send me your pictures. Let me know if this tornado is verifying so I can let the National Weather Service know right away. Again, as this continues to work its way on off to the east at about 25 miles per hour. So let me clear this off here. Okay. There's the watch. Perfect. Clear that off. And let's put that bad boy in motion. Okay. So we will continue to watch this here. This tornado warning in effect for another 21 minutes. As we say, respect the polygon. If you are in this polygon at any point, now is the time to seek shelter. Sealy, Pattison. And I'm not really familiar with this particular area. It's pretty rural out here. This is going to include Brazos Country, Fryedeck, San Felipe, not the street but the town, Clemens, and areas just to the west of Brookshire. So there's Brookshire there. So this is where I believe I-10 comes together. It becomes a two-lane highway out here. So if you know sort of west of the Katy Mills Mall, this is the area that we're talking about. So there you can see that strong thunderstorm pushing on off to the east with that tornado warning in effect for about another 20 minutes as it continues to pretty much outperform here. It's moving very quickly. And they may end up having to expand this tornado warning once again, and it may get pretty close to Katy if it continues to hold its own. So something we will continue to watch. Those of you out there in Katy and Brookshire, this is not there yet. You're not under any kind of warning, but certainly it is not too far away either. So that's why we're going to continue to watch this pretty carefully. Putting on the tracker, let's take a look at the velocity scope once again, and you can see that tornado signature developing. You see the couplet right there, and look how it's moving due right. You see that? The storm itself is moving to the northeast, but look how that couplet develops and moves exactly to the right. That is what we call a right-hand mover, right there. So it's sitting right over Sealy. Sealy, this is your greatest tornado threat right now. Seek shelter immediately. Put as many walls between you and the outside of your home as possible. Get a helmet on. under a stairwell, lowest floor of your home. Those are the things you need to do. Brookshire, those of you living out there, this would also be a good idea for you, even though you're not explicitly in the tornado warning yet. That is the next big town in the path of this, even though there is no tornado on the ground at this time that I've been able to see. And then Katy, we're going to watch for you as well, as this continues to move right down the Katy Freeway at about 25 miles per hour. So let me clear off my markings here. And again, so we're watching those of you out there in Sealy and Brookshire, southern portions of Waller County. Clear that off. There we go. Okay. So really, there's not we're just going to have to continue to watch this and see how it unfolds. This is the third tornado warning we've had in about 20 minutes. The first one was issued out there for portions of Colorado County that included Cat Spring, and then they included Belleville in the second tornado warning, and now this is the third tornado warning in effect until 10 o'clock, and it'll be interesting to see exactly what the National Weather Service does with this as it continues to race off to the east at about 25 miles per hour. In fact, give me just 1 second here. And log into the National Weather Service. We have a chat feature that will allow us to communicate directly with the Weather Service in live time. Think of sort of like Yahoo Chat. Anybody remember Yahoo Messenger? That's sort of what this is, and it allows us to kind of get an idea as to what they're thinking in real time. Okay, so right now they are saying that this is sort of evolving into what we call a bow echo or more of a straight line wind issue. They're going to let the tornado warning ride for now, but this could easily become more of a severe thunderstorm warning as this thing sort of gusts out. It sort of becomes a big line of wind. Instead of it rotating, it just pushes all one direction, but could easily be just as dangerous. So we don't want to downplay it too much. Again, no tornado on the ground at this time, but let me put the velocity scope on here once again, and we'll see what they're talking about. And you can see how, look at the ball sort of opens up. You see that? That little green ball sort of opens up here. So I agree with the Weather Service in that it is becoming a little bit more of a gust front as this continues to push on off to the east. So again, don't want to discount it too much. We still have that tornado warning in effect until 10 o'clock, but that rotation does seem to be opening up a little bit, and that is good news as far as the tornado threat is concerned, but we still could be looking at straight line winds in excess of 75 to 80, 85 miles an hour as this pushes on through. Certainly capable of doing some damage to power poles, trees, and bringing down some other cosmetic things or blowing things around in the yard, umbrellas, lawn chairs, garbage cans, things of that nature. So again, we're going to continue to watch this as it pushes across. I believe this is the Brazos River here. Ron, is that correct? That's the Brazos River, right? That cuts Waller County into Austin County. I believe that's the Brazos River. Yeah, so here we go. Just getting ready to cross over the Brazos River. Those of you in Brazos country, just to the west of the river, you're next up as far as the threat goes with this potential tornado. Again, no reports at this time of one on the ground, but those of you out there in Brookshire, we're going to continue to watch this pretty carefully, but I am encouraged seeing that maybe the rotation is opening up maybe a little bit, becoming more of a straight line wind threat as it pushes on off to the east. So again, follow me on Instagram at BlakesTakes08. Please send me your pictures. I would love to take a look to see what you guys are seeing out there, and or my Twitter account at KHOUBlake11. Try to get some of those pictures on the air if you're able to take some. Let's check back in with the National Weather Service at this time. I don't see any updates. Yeah, so no updates coming out of the Weather Service just yet. They're going to let this tornado warning ride for right now. Clear that off. There we go. And so this is in effect for about another 14 minutes as this races on off to the east. And again, we're going to watch for Brazos Country, Brookshire, Sunnyside, out there in western portions of Waller County, and all of Waller County, really, all of southern Waller County as this continues to move on off to the east. Still a lot of lightning with this particular cell, so it's still holding its own, and you'll notice quite a bit of lightning now forming out ahead of it as well. So these bolts out here away from the parent storm, this is often what we call bolts from the blue. In the afternoon, you may see some peaks of blue, and then bam, you get zapped by lightning. Those are the positive strikes. Those are the dangerous ones. Those are the ones, of course, all lightning is dangerous. I don't want to downplay any particular bolt, but it's the positive ones that are really, really dangerous. So those the lightning bolts out there ahead of the main storm are really dangerous, but again, the most tornadic part of this storm continues to be sitting right over Sealy and perhaps pushing into areas very close to Brookshire within about the next 15 minutes or so, again, as this continues to push to the east at about 25 miles per hour. Zooming on out a little bit, it really is the only action we have across southeast Texas. Earlier, had a very nasty thunderstorm push over my house. It actually set my neighbor's house on fire earlier this afternoon. But really, outside of that one storm to the west of Katy, there really is not a whole lot else going on here across southeast Texas. It's pretty quiet. We're going to continue to watch this over the next couple of minutes here. If anything changes, of course, we'll be breaking back in on our TV side, and of course, we'll hit up digital once again as well. But again, one more time before we cut it off here, those of you in Austin County, central Austin County, and southern Waller County until 10 o'clock, that tornado warning does include you, even though not explicitly on the ground at this time. It could occur at any moment, and even if it doesn't, we're still looking at a thunderstorm capable of producing winds 60, 70 to 80 miles per hour. So go ahead and seek shelter, those of you out there west of Brookshire. This is headed your direction. If anything changes with this storm, or if we get a new warning, we'll be the first to let you know here on our digital side and of course on the TV side. And of course, speaking of TV,